All right, we're going to go ahead and jump right in. Welcome, everyone. I'm really glad you're here. My name is Connie Watson. I'm Program Director with Parent and Family Relations, and I'm joined today by two great partners, Danielle Saavedra from the School of Law and Kristi Bloomquist from the Pre-Law program here at Tech. We know that the law school path can feel a little unclear at times, so today is about giving you a better sense of what the journey looks like and how you can support your student along the way. Today's webinar is also part of our Red Raider Family webinar series. And if this is your first time with us, welcome. We've got more sessions coming up this summer on things like orientation and financial aid, housing, and more. So we'd love to have you join us again. Check out our website for the full schedule. That information will be also listed at the end of this presentation. We're going to keep this to a day to about 30 minutes. Feel free to drop questions in the Q&A as we go. Our team is responding behind the scenes. If time allows, we'll take a few live questions at the end. And just as a heads up, we are recording today's session. We'll send the link to your email and post it on our website so you can revisit it later or share with your student. All right, then, let's get right into it. Danielle, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you all for being here this afternoon with us. My name is Danielle Saavedra. I'm the Dean of Admissions over at Texas Tech School of Law. And Kristi and I thought this would be a very helpful presentation to get you ready for the financial aspect of actually applying to law school. The process itself can feel overwhelming, but hopefully getting this pinpoint will make it a little bit more feasible, and being able to see both of our faces, knowing that we're here for the students, will encourage you to send your students to talk with us when their time comes. So I'm going to hand it over to Kristi to begin with the timeline.
Hey, thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Kristi Bloomquist. I'm the Pre-Law Program Coordinator, and I meet with juniors and seniors. We do also have an advisor for freshmen and sophomores. And yeah, just to go after what Danielle was saying, we want to prepare your students and you for this process and give you some kind of ways to prepare to budget, help them to budget as well for the costs that will come up. But I'd like to begin with the timeline of applying for law school. The process for the application should start the spring or the summer of the junior year. This generally means that a student will take the LSAT in the spring or the summer before the senior year, because they will apply in the fall semester of the senior year if they're planning to begin law school right after they graduate. So we like to, applications open generally for law school in September. They do for tech law September 1st. And we'd like for the students to apply in September or October. Preparing for the LSAT typically takes a solid 2 to 3 months. Everyone is different, so it could be longer than that. But typically, if they can devote 2 to 3 months, so no need really to start LSAT prep until maybe the junior year. Freshmen don't really need to seriously begin LSAT prepping, right away. Danielle, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, and the only thing that I would add here, or kind of on the timeline as well, is if your student wants to take a gap year or several gap years, that is okay. There's not a law school in the country that will feel any positive or negative way about it. Everybody gets to law school in their own time. So we can go to the next slide. So in order to get their application ready for, I would say 99% of the time, they are going to need a law school admissions test score. There are some schools that will allow scores from the GRE or other alternative tests. All the ABA approved law schools in the country, all 200 plus of us, accept the LSAT, and generally that is the best opportunity for scholarships, is the LSAT. So this is a test that your students want to take very seriously. As Kristi said, 2 to 3 months out is good prep time. The test itself, for one exam, typically it's at this moment $248. It has been going up every year. So we do not want anybody going in and taking it cold turkey without any prep. The law schools will see that score, and we don't want your students to be paying money to send an unprepared score to the schools. So it is the kind of the gold standard. It is the test that we prefer. It is good for 5 years. it does become a little bit stale at some schools if it was taken 5 years ago and then there's been no attempt since. So that is also why we don't really encourage the freshmen or the sophomores to start doing that. As far as preparing for the exam, this is a cost that will be kind of whatever fits your budget and your student study style. Some self-study that they are proficient in that, it is good. They're able to get the scores that they want and the performance that they would like. However, that does not work for everybody. And so some do need to take that extra step to go with a course. There is not a specific program or company that we prefer or have seen better results than others. But again, it just depends on time, budget, and your student's study style. There is a free, like, condensed course on the LSAC website. LSAC is the governing body over all law school admissions, everything. And so that's called Law Hub. They have several free practice tests that students can take, some free lessons. If they are doing well in that, the upgraded version for Law Hub Advantage is $120. And so then they would have access for the year, a ton of free exams. Timed practice tests are the most beneficial. So it's a great option, low cost option for everything. There are other higher cost options that could be, $500 for a course, $5,000 for a course in person. It just depends. The only thing that we caution is if a student's wanting to do private tutoring, one, that does get very expensive, and two, ensure that it is a legitimate tutor. We've seen a lot of students who, hey, I scored, really, really well on the LSAT. Now I'm going to be a tutor. And the problem is that they're good test takers, but not very strong teachers. So we want to make sure that they're prepared. Most students will take this exam 2 to 3 times. So that can be, you're already looking at $500, possibly $750 just on the exam. They have a lifetime limit of 7 test taking times. We don't want them to get there. So prepare as though you're only going to need to take it once. And then if you still feel like there's a little bit more you can do, you have the space and time to get it done another time or so. So that is kind of the cost associated with the law school admissions test. We can go to the next slide.
Okay, now we'll talk about another application fee. So the Credential Assembly Service, or the CAS, is a fee. It's $215. It is a mandatory fee that the applicant will pay one time. It is good for 5 years. So after that 5 years lapse, I mean, obviously they'd have to pay again. At that point, it could be, the CAS could be more if LSAC has raised that fee. So they pay that fee one time. The LSAC will compile the application material to create the CAS report. So that means transcripts. So from any school the student has attended. So if they did dual credit previously, they would need that transcript as well as the tech transcript. So any school the student has attended. That will also, the application material also covers resume, personal statement, optional statements. So all of those will be uploaded to the letters of recommendation will be uploaded to that CAS report, and then the applicant will pay $45 per school to each school that they are applying to. So sometimes a student will ask how many schools should they apply to, and then this is where I will say, well, it depends on what your budget is for this. These are the costs. So applying to 20 schools might be a little out of the question. And also, let's talk about which schools you would be excited to attend should you be admitted there. There is also an application fee at some schools. A lot of schools, like Texas Tech School of Law, have waived their application fee, so they no longer have one. The applicant would pay just that $45 CAS report fee. Other schools will have application fees. Danielle, what would you say the average fee is?
About $60.
Yeah, so you can kind of see maybe a range of 50. I've helped a student recently, looked at St. Mary's, $55, UT School of Law, I think 75. So there's a bit of a range. It depends on sometimes if the school is public or private, or maybe they've also waived that application fee. I think we can move to the next slide if Danielle, you don't have anything to.
So right off the bat, just applying to one school that maybe has an application fee, having taken one exam, set up your student's account, not even looking at any prep courses, your student is already at about $568. So we want to make sure that we're not adding to that where we don't need to be adding to it. A couple of unnecessary costs that Kristi and I have seen quite a bit. One is the LSAT score preview, and this allows students to sit for the LSAT, that test, get their score, see it before they send it to the law schools, and decide whether or not they would like to actually send it. And so basically, yeah, they're paying extra money to do this. We have now seen a handful of students, and there's just been more coming down the pipeline, that have paid this cost, seen their LSAT score, told themselves, you know what, I've done better in practice tests. This isn't as good as I know I can do. And they cancel it. And then they take it again and again and again. And that first score was the highest score that they ever end up achieving. And now it no longer exists for the law schools to see it. So it does become an issue there. So just be mindful of paying extra fees that really you don't need to be paying. The other thing that we're seeing more prevalent is paying for law school admissions consultants. This can be offered in, I'm hiring a consultant to look at my personal statement. I'm hiring a consultant to help me figure out like what schools to apply to. Whatever the case may be, all the way to I'm hiring a consultant to basically work and walk with me through this entire experience. If it fits into your budget, that is awesome. I would also like to point out there are a number of these services that are available to your student on campus for free. So we encourage students to start at the Writing Center. I have gone and done sessions with the instructors there and the people that are reviewing writing samples to talk exactly and specifically what law schools, and Texas Tech Law more specific, are looking for in a personal statement. So that money that they would be paying to a consultant, they have already baked into their tuition at Tech. A lot of the information that admissions consultants are giving to the students is information that they can be gaining from law school admissions counselors and their pre-law advisors for free. That is information that we are providing. A lot of the admissions consultants actually spent time as admissions counselors. So it's like if I just went to go work for it and then I could charge for what I'm already providing. So I would encourage them to take advantage of the resources that they have available to them. Everything in this process gets very expensive very quickly. And so where we can be mindful of those costs and what we actually need to be paying for, that will be helpful to your budgets.
I agree, and I do want to add that it is my job to know what law school admissions people are looking for, what they aren't looking for, and also to help your student through this process. So when I meet with your juniors and seniors, it's a collaborative process. We look at resumes together, we look at their personal statements, sometimes line by line. What were you trying to say here, or this was a good sentence, or so. Going through the process of even also when they get acceptances and they can't decide which school, or what about seat deposits, or what about just different things, I will talk with them through that process. Like Danielle said, the Writing Center is a place that I always recommend. We also have a career center that will help them with resume as well. So there are resources on campus that you're already paying for, and that your student should utilize.
Absolutely. And the other thing to add is nobody knows a law school better than their law school admissions team. And so nobody knows what the law school is looking for in the application better than the team. And so whether it's just calling my office directly, if we have a very small group, it's only 3 of us, we can all answer those questions. And so we can answer specifically what we're looking for, right? And that would be more detailed information than a consultant can provide, because they don't know what our pool looks like on a day-to-day. They don't know what we're seeing. And while I would love everybody to come to Tech, I understand it's, there's many law schools to choose from. You would have the same experience calling each law school. Nobody knows better about the application than the law school that you're applying to. And so that direct and free information is invaluable.
Right. And not feeling like a lot of students are intimidated by that, reaching out directly to. And what we try to do is show them that they're not intimidated. That's their job. That's what they would like to, they're there to help. So please encourage your students to reach out to admissions teams at different schools as well. Okay. Ready for the next slide? Yeah. Okay. So, okay. So we talked about all of these fees, how much it will cost you. There are also, there's help out there too. So fee waivers are available. So for application fees, a lot of times if you will email a school or the student will email a school to ask if a fee waiver is available, sometimes it is available. They can also say no, obviously, but sometimes it's available. We have a law school fair every fall. It will be, this year will be September 29th. Representatives from law schools all over the country will be there. Students can ask them directly, do you offer fee waivers for applications? And sometimes they do. So, and a lot of times that's the best place to ask. Also, sometimes they send them to me. They will mail me some brochures and say, well, here's also a fee waiver, and I will give those to my students. The CASB also, Danielle, can you talk about this more? Because I don't know as much about CASB waivers.
Yes, absolutely. So the CAS fee waiver, this is a cost that the schools will cover and then pay to the LSAC organization. So unfortunately, Texas Tech, we do not have a budget that covers that. So when students email to ask about a CAS fee waiver, unfortunately, we do have to, we don't have any. But I know other schools that, for example, in Arizona have more access to a budget. And so they are able to cover a certain number of CAS fee waivers. And basically the law school then just pays that $45 fee to get your application to them. And then at the end, they write a check to LSAC for that. So just remember when you're asking for those, it is not necessarily a waiver. It is a cost that the schools are taking on. And unfortunately, some schools are not able to. But again, the worst that you get is no, unfortunately. But our application fee is waived. So it's kind of a balance there.
So the LSAC, the Law School Admission Council, does offer fee waivers. So you can apply at lsac.org. They do use the tax information. So students will apply there. There's a link to that page. So if they qualify, there are two tiers. So the first tier, they would get that Law Hub Advantage that Danielle was talking about earlier. That helps with LSAT prep and really everything. So the Law Hub Advantage, 2 LSATs, the CASB, and then 6 reports. The second tier is also good. 1 LSAT, the CAS, and then 3 reports along with the Law Hub Advantage. So if they qualify for either of those tiers, that's a great advantage. Also, a lot of the LSAT prep companies will offer a discount if they qualify for that LSAC fee waiver.
Yes. And the other additional resources that are available, Access Lex is one of our very favorite nonprofits. They are a organization that works on financial literacies for law students and incoming law students. And they do have a program for pre-law students. If a student's selected, they get, again, a number of amazing resources available to them. If they don't get selected, the website is still chock full of really great modules, like even just beginning how to pick a law school, like how to get ready for applying, how to pay for law school. Aside from all of this, right? Once you get through the application process, which is what we're talking about today, there's a whole other beast of actually paying for the tuition and cost of living and attendance at the law school. They have a whole course and module on that. So they're a really wonderful organization. Everything they offer is completely free. They do free financial coaching. We love them a lot. Other resources, Texas Appleseed is an organization. They do scholarships throughout the year that provide a free Kaplan test prep course for students. So again, that is just an application process. The students are, again, actually on that Access Lex pre-law program. They also have a scholarship data bank. While most of the scholarships are for incoming and current law students, there may be some as well for pre-law students. It's actually very easy to filter through. It's a really wonderful page that they've vetted and figured out. So there are resources available. Sometimes it does take a little bit of legwork to find them. But if you're having a hard time finding them, again, reach out to our office. Anything that we're aware of, we are happy to share with y'all and get your students kind of triangulated in the correct path. I think that is what we've got for you today. Yes, and Kristi
Okay, yeah,
just shared.
I put Access Lex in the chat. So if you want to go and look at that, you definitely should. Our email addresses are there on this slide. Danielle's at the law school, law.admissions@ttu.edu. Mine, pre-law at ttu.edu. Any questions that anybody has after this, but we will take questions now if you have any.
So if our attendees would like to use the Q&A, that's the way to ask your questions. But I have a question, and Kristi, you're going to hate me.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to pretend to be a parent of an incoming student who wants to do pre-law. They want to go to law school, and I just need to know what major is the best one, or what happens if, I think they should do political science and they think they should do biology. How do we help our students really find their niche that prepares them the most for law school?
I don't hate you. That's an excellent question, and a question that we get a lot because it's a good one. Students want to find, the best major for law school, and what I say is that the best major for law school is the one you like. We want you to find the major that you enjoy the most, that you're going to go to class and you're going to get good grades. I know that when you ask a lot of people about, it's a misconception, I guess, about, going to law school that you major in political science. That's not true unless you like politics or you would like to work in politics. Otherwise, no, you should find the major that is the best for you. If you're you were the parent that had a student that loves biology, then they should major in biology. And there are so many areas of law, Danielle, right? They can, you please talk about this.
You said everything. Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
thanks.
the law touches everything from, of course, politics, government, but science, STEM, AI, fashion, language, literally every part. So we want students that have been pursuing something that they're passionate about, that they're interested in, that they care about. They have like an excitement when they talk about it with us. That's what we want to see. I definitely did political science because I was the first in my family to go to law school. So I thought that's what I had to do. I did not take advantage of the resources at my school to go and talk to my pre-law advisor. Otherwise, I probably would have studied something else.
Oh, can I say, I see something in the Q&A. You know what? I'm so sorry. We were nailing down the date for the law school fair while we were making this presentation. So I didn't have it. Now we would have made a slide. It is September 29th. The law school fair. I believe it will be a Tuesday. I will also be publicizing the heck out of it this summer and also, leading up to it. So if you please tell your students.
Yes, and we will also at the law school have an open house at some time in fall. We haven't planned it yet. I see a question in the chat. If you plan on going for an extra year for your master's beforehand, will I start the LSAT process my senior year instead of junior year? Yes, so you will basically start the LSAT process the year before you intend to actually apply. So if you are going into the master's program immediately after senior year, you'd be working on your application during senior year. So yes. Or getting that LSAT ready senior year and then working on the application as early as you can at the start of your master's degree.
Well, that looks like that's all the questions that we have. Let me get out of this right quick. There's our questions, and we've stayed on there. What we'd like for you to do, we want to thank everyone for joining us today. Our time is coming to a close. I want to once again thank Danielle and Kristi for doing this for us and for helping you guys understand a little bit more about what that process looks like for our Texas Tech students. Again, we appreciate you. Here are some other what's coming up next as far as some of our next webinars, as well as a QR code where you can take a quick survey about, what we did, what you would have preferred maybe to see in the future, or other things that you might have questions about. Please just check in with us, connect with us. And we are so very, very glad that you attended with us today. If you have any other questions, like I said, just contact us at Parent Family Relations, parent@ttu.edu, or as you see for the law school and pre-law programs. That will conclude our webinar for today. This recording will be sent to you through the email address that you registered through, and you can find it on our YouTube channel. And with that, I say thanks again. Have a great afternoon and a great weekend. Thanks again, Danielle and Kristi.
Thank you.
Thank you.